Hey, good evening, all. My name is Donovan Saadiq. I am the recovering Democrat. You guys have also seen me on The War Zone and the Demetra K Show. I'm her partner in crime. Welcome on this Sunday evening. You guys been watching football all weekend. I didn't get a chance to watch it. Demetra K is actually here in California visiting her family, and we met up briefly, and we just talked a few things about what's going on, and it's good to see her. I haven't seen her in a couple months, other than via the internet. But real quick, before we get this, I want to share this on some platforms. So let me do some homework here. So one more here. Let me just do one more. Got to put it in my tweets. As you guys know, we do a lot of tweeting. So once I get all these things going, I'll share the rest later on after I get done doing my business. You know what I'm saying? Got a lot of platforms that we like to share this on, and we try to get the information out there as much as we can. And it is actually working because people are now realizing that a vote just to get Trump out of there is a vote that I wouldn't say it was a wasted vote, but I would say that what's the difference? A bigot is a bigot, and a racist is a racist, and an asshole is an asshole, and so on, so on, so forth. But the funny thing is, after a whole week, if you guys saw my video earlier this morning, after a whole week, a lot of people seeing what Biden is doing by executive order, which he said to the black so-called leaders, he told them he can't do anything for them because it's unconstitutional. But he's doing the exact same thing that he told them that was unconstitutional. So now I'm starting to see a lot of my baby boomers and people changing their narrative, and they're doing the same thing they did under Obama. And they're talking about, because remember, the first narrative is, oh, he just got in office. You got to give him a chance. He just got in office. It's only been a week. It's only been a day. It's only been 3 days. It's been a week. It's only been a month. It's only been a year. It's only been one term. That's their narrative that they keep running down, and they keep running down, and they keep running down, right? So a lot of them are now saying, I hope, I hope, I hope. We don't have time. I don't have another 4 years for these people to keep, uh, starting from scratch, making me start from scratch, and start from scratch. I don't have that. Black people do not have that kind of time. So, everybody's bootlicking and boot dancing, and they keep forgetting about the midterms coming up. The midterms was not that far away. Most congressional people in the House spend half of their time worrying about getting donations and not doing the people's work. So tonight, what I'm going to talk to you about is Representative Eddie Bernice Johnson of Texas's 30th district. Okay, we're just going to give you a little background. And this lady was at one time a chair of the Congressional Black Caucus. Now she's still a member. I think she's the fourth or fifth ranking member. And she was elected, I believe, in 1993 in the wave of all these people coming into Congress, and they're going to just change everything. And I'm going to show you a little bit about her record. So I don't want you to think that I'm just like dogging her out or doing this, but look at the Hispanic caucus. Nothing from an Hispanic representative has to do with anything other than their people. They're pushing hard for the immigration. They're getting what they want because the Black representatives did most of the heavy lifting. But if you go to any congressional Hispanic caucus members' record, there's nothing in there about Black people. They don't give a damn about police being shot down in the streets. They do want police reform, but it has to do with their people. So we're going to talk about Representative Eddie Bernice Johnson. I thought it might have been Edise or something, but it's Eddie. So let's just go and check it out because I don't want you guys to think that I'm just this paranoid person. But we're going to highlight their record. And in all of the records that I've highlighted so far in the Congressional Black Caucus, these people have been in there for 30 years and do absolutely nothing for Black people specifically. We're not talking about an everybody train, okay? We're talking about the Black train. All right, we are the only group of people that keep voting for oppression. We love it. We love oppression. We keep voting for people who, isn't it kind of funny? It seems like when they go to Congress, these people talk a certain way. Have you guys noticed that? But when they're down in the hood, you know what I'm saying, dog? You remember when me and Big Mama, and we were starting out as kids, and we were on the basketball team, and we had to go to Morehouse and, do all that, right? But then when they get to Congress, it's like, well, we have to really look at what is happening in the progressive caucus of our wing, and we support our Nancy Pelosi as much as possible. To which they talk about nothing. It's like another language. So I'm going to share with you guys real quick a little bit of what I was able to pull out about Miss Johnson. Let's go there and check it out, will you? Okay, you guys, this is Representative Eddie Bernice Johnson. And she's representing the 30th District of Texas. And there's her legislative work, but I want to go real quick to meeting Miss Bernice. And if you guys get a chance, please like and share this if you can, because, we have to get the word out and let people understand how we're voting and that these people are not doing anything for us. Congressman Eddie Bernice Johnson is serving her 14th term representing the 30th Congressional District of Texas. Congresswoman Johnson is the first African-American woman to chair the House Committee on Science, Space, and Technology and is the Dean of Texas Congressional Delegation. In addition to serving as Dean of the Texas, New Mexico, and Arizona Democratic Congressional Delegation. Who gives a shit? I'm the first. Well, if you're the first, goddammit, why aren't you doing something for your people? If you were the first, that means nobody has been in a position that you are in to do something for people that look like you. Congresswoman Johnson is the highest ranking Texan on the House Transportation and Infrastructure Committee and the first nurse to be elected to the U.S. Congress. She's the first nurse. How does that affect my life? If you're so good at being a nurse, why did you get involved in politics? Why aren't you the Surgeon General? Jesus Christ. Congresswoman Johnson began her career as the first female African-American chief psychiatric nurse at the VA hospital in Dallas. What significance does being the first have if you have nothing to show for it? In 1972, she became the first nurse ever elected to the Texas State Hospital. Now, you guys got to understand this, and let me break this down. I'm a Generation Xer. My parents are baby boomers. Miss Johnson is older than a baby boomer, okay? And we're going to get to that in a minute. Now, from my grandfather's generation to my parents' generation, they are perfectly fine with firsts and just seeing Black people in certain positions, okay? That was their moving the bar. They took the baton and they said, we're gonna, get Black people in there, okay? Now, it is my generation's thing to make these motherfuckers do something. It's not enough now that you're just there. And I know a lot of baby boomers get mad at the younger generation because we're looking at what's going on and it looks like a shit show because of this type of leadership. Now, I'm going to say this. The baby boomers are and the civil rights fighters are the most progressive generation ever in the history of the United States. They're the most progressive. So much stuff was done because of their efforts. We should never forget that. Okay? We should never forget that. A lot of baby boomers died during the civil rights era. A lot of civil rights leaders died during the civil rights. I'm not talking about the national motherfuckers. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about your pastors and the grassroots leaders, okay? That's what I'm talking about. A lot of people died, but they didn't die just so you can vote. They died for you to get something for that vote. They died to make sure that you have a continued right to vote, okay? Big difference. You got to understand the big difference. However, nobody benefited from the civil rights movement more so than the very people who fought the civil rights movement. Okay, I didn't benefit from it financially and all this other stuff, because if you look at a lot of our parents, opportunities were opened up to them that had never been opened up to. That's why you have the first. Do you guys see how they keep throwing that out? I was the first. I was the first. I was the first. Then they stay on the job 30, 40, 60 years. In some cases, you got to carry them out in a goddamn coffin. And then they slam the door or they take the ladder so that nobody can follow them. And that's the case in a lot of situations. So I want you guys to remember that. Okay, this is a bunch of bullshit, whatever. She's, they're touting her record and all this other stuff that she's done. But see, notice they haven't said anything about her accomplishments, that she's the first of this and she's the first of that. I have 12 degrees. How the fuck does that benefit anybody? You know what I mean? I was the first in my family to join the United States Air Force, and we're a very deep military family. I was the very first one to do it, because we're usually either you're a Marine or you're in the Navy or you're in the Army. That's just how our family rolled, right? Congressman Johnson has a reputation as a stateswoman who works with both parties to get things done, a reputation earned during her more than 40 years in public service. Notice they are not listing any key legislation that she worked with, Congresswoman Johnson is widely recognized as one of the most effective legislators in Congress. Oh, really? Really? Is that so? Credited with authoring and co-authoring more than 177 bills that were passed by the House and Senate and signed into law by the president. We're going to get into that. She has a long-standing reputation for providing excellent constituent services to the people who elected her. She is the founder of the Diversity of Innovation Caucus, the founder and co-chair of the Congressional Homelessness Caucus. Nice job there. Homeless in America has fucking exploded. So she's a failure there. The Lupus Caucus, blah, blah, blah. All this bullshit, her acclaimed initiative, again, this all-out assault on men, especially Black men. Her acclaimed initiative, A World of Women for World Peace, has gained national and international recognition. Congress Johnson is the proud mother of her son, Kirk, and of her 3 grandsons, Kirk Jr., David, and James. If you want an large official portrait of Congresswoman Johnson, you can download it, and then she has her official biography. Okay? So that's getting to know Congressman Eddie Bernice Johnson from her official page. Okay? I don't want to get into that one right now. I want to get into this one. Let's just go to her Wikipedia. Okay? Miss Johnson was born in 1935. This lady is almost 90 years old. Now, we're not into ageism. That isn't what I'm saying. She served 14 terms so far. We need fucking term limits. Why is this woman still serving in Congress at 85 years old? Well, maybe she wants to do that, Donovan. Maybe that's what she wants to do. Okay, that's fine. We need term limits. This is ridiculous. 1935. But remember that thing I said earlier about how we got to carry them out in caskets? That's pretty much what's going down, okay? Elected in 1992 I said 1993, so I was kind of close. Johnson was the first registered nurse, and there we go with that same, bullshit. She formerly served in the Texas State House, where she was elected in 1972 in a landslide. Again, the first Black woman to win electoral office from Dallas, Texas. She also served for 3 terms in the Texas Senate before being elected to Congress. She worked for 16 years as chief. I already told you guys that, blah, blah. Okay. Born and raised in Waco, Texas, Johnson grew up wanting to work in medicine. She left Texas, which had segregated schools, and attended St. Mary's College in South Bend, Indiana, where she received a diploma in nursing in 1956. My mother was 6 years old. My dad was 6 years old. She transferred to Texas Christian University in Fort Worth, Texas, from which she received a bachelor's degree in nursing. She later attended Southern Methodist University in Dallas and earned a master's of public administration in 1976. Good for her. Johnson was the first African-American, again, this first shit. How does that, anyway, here we go. After passage of the Civil Rights legislation and the Voting Rights Act of 1965, which enabled African-Americans in the South to register and vote, more African-Americans began to run for office and be elected. So she took advantage of a right that she fought for and others fought for during the Civil Rights era, okay? So that's what she did. Okay, Johnson left the State House in 1977 when President Jimmy Carter appointed her as the regional director of the Department of Health, Education, and Welfare, the first African-American woman to hold this position. Anyway, so let's see. There's really not much here. Let's see, her tenure, she was the 17th chair of the Congressional Black Caucus, like I told you guys. Johnson opposed the Iraq resolution of 2002, but she didn't oppose the 2001 one during debate on the House floor. 9/11, yeah. So I am not, well, I think that's the same one, I'm sorry. I am not convinced that giving the president the authority to launch a unilateral first strike attack on Iraq is the appropriate course of action at this time. While I believe that under international law and under the authority of our country, the United States must maintain the option to act in its own defense, I strongly believe that the administration has not provided evidence of an imminent threat of attack on the United States that would justify a unilateral strike. I also believe that actions alone without exhausting peaceful options could seriously harm global support for our war on terrorism. And it's funny how they say our war. What our? Their war, the government. But anyway. Okay. Let's see. She talks about the Armenian genocide denial. She had presidential election objections during the Bush versus Gore, scholarship violations. It says in August 2010, Amy Goldson, counsel for the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation, said that Johnson violated organizational rules by awarding at least 15 scholarships to relatives of her own or to children of her district director, Rod Givens. The awards violated an anti-nepotism rule, and the recipients all did not qualify for their scholarships because they were not residents of the Congresswoman's district as required. Johnson said she unknowingly made a mistake in awarding the grants and would work with the foundation to rectify it. It seems to me all of these Black legislators are no different than the corrupted white legislators. They all are in it for themselves. And this is what I'm trying to point out to you guys. Forget her committees. I don't care about her committees, caucus memberships. Okay, so let's get to the meat and potatoes of this whole thing. Okay, let's see her voting record. This right here, because I don't want you guys to think that I'm just doing this. This is called On the Issues. Every political leader on every issue. Now, real quick before we get to this. This is what I use. I've been using the government track thing, okay? Now, remember I told you, so far, all of the Black congressional caucus people are 100% backed by Planned Parenthood. It's no secret that Black people number since the 1960s, and I'm just going from the 1960s, probably farther back than that, but since the 1960s has remained at 13%, 14% over a 60-year period. That's insane. Asian people in 1972 were 2% of the population of the United States. Asians are now 8% of the population. Hispanics, we already know what they're doing. These people have, you know, three and four kids by the time they're 20, 25. Okay. The women. Okay. So this is the site that I use, and analysis. Let's just do an analysis. Okay. Okay. She is rated at 100% by Planned Parenthood. What is this about? This Planned Parenthood Action Fund. Why are these Black congressional leaders being rated at 100%? What is the criteria for that? The League of Conservation Voters, she's at 94%. Human Rights Campaign, 88%. Why would a Black woman be at 88% of a human rights campaign organization? You wouldn't think that she'd be at 100%. The National Organization to Reform Marijuana Laws, she's at a B. She should be at an A. United States Chamber of Commerce, she's at 58%. So I guess she's not pro-business. The Club of Growth at 6%. I don't know what that is. Johnson was the primary sponsor of 7 bills that were enacted. Now, these are the bills that were enacted, okay? HR 3196, the Vera C. Rubin Observatory Designation Act, Hidden Figure Congressional Gold Medal Act. I guess she saw the movie and was inspired. One Small Step to Protect Human Heritage in Space Act. Oh my God. Veterans Medical Personnel Recruitment and Retention Act of 2009 to designate the facility of the United States Post Service as the Francisco Pancho Medrano Post Office Building. So, you know, she's not even naming post offices after Black people. Because again, if this was the Congressional Hispanic Caucus, they're not naming any post offices after Black people. They're naming it after their people. To designate the facility of the United States Post Office to Dr. Caesar A.W. Clark, to designate the federal building located at 500 in Texas as the A. Maceo Smith Federal Building. Now, remember I told you guys, a lot of these Black representatives do a lot of, you know, naming buildings and stuff, and they, you know, and this is like the only legislation that ever gets enacted by him, okay? She co-sponsors bills, whatever. Johnson sponsors bills primarily in these issue areas. These are the bills she mostly helps sponsors: science, technology, communications, armed forces and national security, transportation and public works, health, international affairs, and education. 6% education. Black people need to be educated. Here's a Black educated woman who was a nurse, and she put 6% of her time behind education. Some of Johnson's most recently sponsored bills include to direct the director of the Science and Technology Policy to forestall the loss of research talent, honoring the 50th anniversary of the Joint Center for Political and Economic Studies, recognizing the 50th anniversary of the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, energizing Technology Transfer Act, expressing support for designation of the week of September 13, 2020 through September, Forensic Science Research and Standards Act of 2020. Now, here's the thing right here. She was a yay vote on HR 2146, Defending Public Safety Employees Retirement Act. See, she's taking care of her baby boomers and everything like that, because it's okay to cut our retirement, but no, not their retirement or their Social Security. You know, she's for a continuing appropriations resolution, make sure the military gets their money. She voted yay for the Indian Tribal Trade and Investment Demonstration Project. I mean, I'm looking, there's nothing here. It's just nothing here for Black people. Um, she missed a total of about 5% of votes over her career. So that's a little bit about Miss Bernice in regards to the voting thing. So let's get down to what she actually votes on. Okay. Her stance on abortion. She voted no on banning federal health coverage that includes abortion. So she does not want federal health if it includes abortion as, you know, as part of the package, if you're into that. Wow, this is kind of strange. She voted yes on expanding research to more embryonic stem cell lines. Maybe she's in the cloning. Yes on allowing human embryonic stem cell research. She voted no on restricting interstate transport of minors to get abortions. No on making it a crime to harm a fetus during another crime. Voted no on banning, you know, partial birth abortion. No on forbidding human cloning for reproductive medical research. No on funding for health providers who don't provide abortion. No on banning family planning funding in U.S. aid abroad. You know, she should be against that, but banning partial birth abortions, voted no on barring transportation minors to get an abortion. Now, here's my question when it comes to her abortion issue. As a Black person, we know that the rate of abortion within the Black community is exorbitantly high. Where is her legislation for her fellow sisters to protect them from danger from, you know, these abortions and things that would go, you know, that was more to Black women? Okay. But let's go on here. I don't want to bore you guys too much, but budget and economy, her stance on civil rights. She voted yes on the Violence Against Women Act. She voted yes on prohibiting job discrimination based on sexual orientation. Once again, the LGBTQ gets what they want. She voted no on constitutionally defining marriage as one man, one woman. That was in 2006. She voted no on banning gay adoptions, no on protecting the Pledge of Allegiance. Wow. So prohibiting gays, women's equal rights. Okay, so for civil rights, she is big about women issues and LGBTQ issues. So, you know, good for her. That's great. She supports, very important. She supports reparations for slavery, but that's in 2001. She hasn't said a word about it since. Okay. So, you know, it was a hot button issue then, and then it dies down, and then we got to throw it out there. The new Black media, we got to throw it back out there for these people. Yeah, she's big in the women's rights and stuff like that. The Freedom Riders, you know, she's into symbolism of the civil rights movement. We've got to move on from that because we're in another movement right now. For corporations, you know, she's yes on bankruptcy overhauling requiring partial debt. Bernice on crime, anti-gay hate crimes. Alternative sentencing, she's for that. Rated 78 back here. Okay, cops on the beat. Increasing fundings for cops on the beat program, which, you know, there you go. We got killed and choked out for that. I'm not saying, you know, her votes are bad. That is not what I'm saying. I'm just saying a lot of people vote for these people and they don't know the history of how they vote and what they're voting on. She's for life imprisonment for repeat sexual predators, stricter sentencing for hate crimes. She needs to be more specific. Sponsors evidence-based and proven prevention for street gangs. You know, she's for the Second Chance program. She needs required DNA testing for all federal executions. So she's, you know, she's fairly okay with that. She voted yes on funding for Mexico to fight drugs. So give some money to the Mexicans, which they pretty much take, put it in their pocket, and they just let the shit go on like if they let it go on. She wants a military border patrols to battle drugs and terrorism. No one prohibiting needle exchange and medical marijuana in DC. That's kind of stupid. We need to start making like the Europeans start making these drug zones, like you have a red light district, and distribute clean needles and things that people would need that, you know, that are out there, as long as they do it in that area. No to subjecting federal employees to random drug tests, indicating drug, okay, whatever. Education, oil. I mean, this page right here tells you a lot. But again, there's nothing specific to Black people. Absolutely nothing. I mean, she's on the everybody train. Here we go. Immigration. She voted no on building a fence along the Mexican border. She voted no. So, now we're on the 11 million illegals coming in and, whatever. She voted no on preventing tipping off Mexicans about Minuteman Project. She voted no on reporting illegal aliens who receive hospital treatment. Only in America. You try that in Mexico and see what happens. She voted yes on extending immigration residency rules. I mean, she's for illegal immigration. This lady's for illegal immigration. She's not protecting the very people she represents. She voted yes on more immigrant visas for skilled workers. She's rated 0 by FAIR, indicating a voting record loosening immigration. She's rated 0 by USBC, indicating an open border stance. She voted to legalize dreamer immigrants via military service. She increased both high skill and base visa caps, let illegal alien children attend school. She is very big on immigration. And if you are a constituent of hers and you are unemployed or whatever your situation, she's not protecting you and your jobs. I mean, she's not doing that at all. Okay, let's get through this real quick. Nothing specific to Black people. She voted no on maintaining work requirements for welfare recipients. She voted yes on instituting national service. She voted yes on providing $70 million for Section 8 housing vouchers. So this lady wants to keep Black people under the guise of the United States, taking care of us and feeding us, so that later on we'll get so dependent on it that they will be starving us. Voted no on promoting work and marriage among TANF recipients. What the fuck? Voted no on treating religious organizations equally for tax breaks. Voted yes on responsible fatherhood via faith-based organizations. Sponsored maintaining SNAP nutritional assistance program, developed a strategy to eliminate extreme global poverty, support school breakfast for low-income children, reduce the concentration of wealth and wage inequality. How is she doing that? Okay, she strongly favors reparations for slavery. Get minorities for home ownership, poverty, rated, all kinds of stuff. But she doesn't really have anything other than the reparations. There's nothing that she's proposed. She's in favor of it, but she hasn't proposed anything. And that's what I'm trying to get you guys to understand. They understand what the issues are, but the question is, why are they not? I'm gonna stop sharing that. Why are they not doing anything to propose these issues to these and bring it to a vote on the floor? Nothing specific. She is very into reparations. This is the only thing I found in her record that she's involved in. Another member of the Congressional Black Caucus that has been involved in scandal and nepotism in regards to public funds and money and resources. I mean, every one of them so far have the same playbook. They know what Black people need, but yet they're not proposing anything. The only thing they propose is naming post offices. This lady is for illegal immigration, which is a threat to citizens of the United States, as these people are coming here to take jobs. Now, if Black people are at the bottom of the economic scale, okay, we're the ones that, 9 times out of 10, we start at McDonald's, we start, wherever we're at. And now she's letting these people come in so that we have to compete for jobs that are already very, very scarce. This is a Black woman. She should be trying to protect Black jobs, but they don't do that. Again, a lot of people don't even know these people's records, but we keep voting them in office and in office and in office. There's going to be a bunch of people out there that are going to email me and text me and say, oh, what a traitor I am and all this other stuff. I'm sorry, you got some comments here. Hey, it's Hightower. Hey, I'm sorry about that. Hey, hell, we the only ones that benefit last from civil rights today. Exactly. We don't even benefit. Another Maxine Waters and Sheila Jackson. Brother, brother, do you see where I'm going with that? Do you see where I'm going with that? But because I highlighted her, I'm a coon. I'm a raccoon. How dare I point out? I mean, come on, this lady has been in office since 1992, and she has not one legislation specific to Black people. Not one. Very sad. It's very sad. So I just wanted to highlight that for you guys and let you guys know I am not done with the Congressional Black Talkers. I am going to be letting you guys know these people's records. Don't get mad at the messenger. Get mad at the people. They made this record. They're just sitting on pretty. They're enriching their families. They're enriching themselves. And they're not doing jack shit for you. Not doing jack shit. I've been to Dallas. We've all been to Dallas. We've all been to these big cities. And in all these big cities where the ghetto is, you know, where the Black people live in concentration, it looks like shit. Nothing's being done. But how dare the Black media call all of this out? I'm going to be putting her link up on my page if you guys are interested to look at it for yourself. She is very strong on specific Black issues. Yeah, and you know, and I bet you she runs on that. You know, we got to go do this, and we got to black, right? Then she gets your vote. Then she doesn't worry about it for another 2 years. There's no doubt from what I saw on her record, she is very strong on Black issues. She's very strong on reparations. Well, if you're so fucking strong on reparations, Ms. Johnson, why haven't you written up legislation and the Black Caucus? And you guys should be talking about that fucking right now. Sorry that I'm cursing, but this gets very upsetting. You're 85 years old. You should know better. Shame on you. Shame on you. What are we going to have to do? Carry you out in a fucking casket? You know, you started from very meager means. I would almost bet you're a millionaire now, and your families have means and are basically millionaires within themselves. How did they do that? I don't have a problem with you making millions of dollars, Miss Johnson. Does your district look like $1 million? That's my question. There is nobody out here in the Black community that has a problem with you making millions of dollars. We want so-called servants to succeed. At the same time, we want to succeed too. Why is it that these Black servants that we elect, they go to Congress and they do absolutely nothing for us? What good is a Black caucus if they don't advocate for Black people? Can anybody answer that question? Now, you know, I've been thinking about it. I mean, it just doesn't make sense to me. I was never a political person because I spent a lot of my adult years in the military. More than half of my life I spent in the military. And, you know, I was never political. I mean, you know, military has to be apolitical. You really don't care, you know, who's president and whatever. It flips, Republican, whatever. But coming out, seeing that nothing is being done for Black people, it's like, what the fuck is going on here? We have the representation. You have 55, 60 members of the Congressional Black Talkers. 65 members at least, right? There's a 13 vote difference between the Republicans taking the House or the Democrats. There's only 13 votes, no more than 22. Okay? So if the Black Caucus stays together and they start playing chess instead of fucking checkers, they control the legislation. If Nancy Pelosi wants to pass her policies, the Congressional Black Caucus is in a position to dictate what gets passed and what doesn't get passed. The Hispanic Caucus is in the same position, but notice they're getting their shit done, so they're not going to obstruct. But the Congressional Black Talkers are in a position to do something or to get something. 30 years, and all you have to show for it is you've named a few mailboxes, but you have no specific legislation for the very people that vote you into office year after year after year. And you were born in 1935. You've seen a lot of shit. You've seen a lot of poverty. And you're okay with the record that you have? Why do our politicians get on this everybody train, but when you go to any other politician, they're on their train? Period. White, redneck, that's it. Conservative, that's their train. Asian, their train. Hispanic, their train. We're the only group that jumps on everybody, and we can't even fucking help ourselves. We can't even help ourselves. It is so freaking sad. And everybody gets here and they just cut in front of us in the line and they just dog us out. It's it's unbelievable, you know. Hey, you guys, I'm Donovan Saadiq, and I'm going to keep highlighting these congressional Black talkers until you guys realize that the jig is up. The midterms are coming, and don't be surprised if Black people do not get anything within the next 2 years significant. The House is going to be gone. And I really do think that both of these parties need to be punished by not having Black people vote at all. We need to just sit it out. Just sit out. Say, nope, we're not doing it. I mean, we ain't getting shit, so what do we got to lose by doing that? You're not getting nothing. It's just so freaking sad. I'm just telling you, this lady is 85 years old. She should know better. But they get in there and they do white supremacy's bidding. And you guys are okay with it. Well, until tomorrow, we will see you guys on the War Zone, Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So you guys have a good night. Be safe, wear your masks, and we'll see you tomorrow. Absolutely. I'm Donovan Saadiq.